Welcome back to module number 6. We're getting very near the end of our class time together. Our focus this week is going to be on older adults' well-being through the use of technology. We are looking at chapter 12 in our textbook, and then you have 2 very short videos to watch in preparation for your work this week. We have 3 learning objectives this week. The first one is to describe how the physical and mental well-being of older people can be enhanced through the use of technologies, including home monitoring systems, computer games, any kind of use of the internet, and smart applications, smartphones. Discuss how technologies can promote intergenerational communication, lifelong learning, and civic engagement. And finally, what are the limits and challenges of using technologies to enhance the lives of older people? Just a couple of thoughts about our reading in chapter 12 this week, and then I want to spend just a few minutes emphasizing things that you'll need for your paper and your presentation. Your chapter this week will be focused on technology, and we will talk about things like, we'll talk about things like telemonitoring, telecare, care from a distance to make it easier for people to stay engaged with care providers. And there's also an emphasis on staying involved with your community and with your children. There's a graph in our slides this week that looks at the interaction between grandchildren and their children, and their parents and grandparents. And it's been fun, like even in my own family, to watch my mom, who I've told you before is 93 years old, who is now using her smartphone as a way to stay in touch with us, although she much prefers to talk to us. But it is one of those things that we do as a family to stay connected to one another. We're a big family, and we all use it. And I think that that's true of many, many people who want to stay in touch and stay engaged. There's also things like elderly advocacy groups, libraries, who have worked very hard to build programs so that older people can feel comfortable with using technologies as a way to stay engaged with their community and with their family, and very importantly, how to use monitoring devices if they're going to be used, technological devices that are going to be used in the home for monitoring, and how to get the best use out of them. So technology will play an important part in our life. It doesn't change the physiological aging process, but it certainly does impact our well-being and the mental aging that takes place with all of us. And when you think about the growth of the use of technology by younger generations, that the use of technology into adulthood and into older ages will become an even bigger phenomenon and have a bigger impact on individuals and our communities. So again, thoughts about the chapter that you'll be reading this week. Let me take just a few minutes. If you look on the Blackboard site, up on the left-hand menu column, and you go to paper presentation materials, you will find this information. Hopefully you've already looked there. But there's some very specific requirements for the assignment. 4 pages long, 12-point font. We want a cover page. You should be saving the file name as your last name, your first name, and then this course number, which is HSC 410. You don't have to put your section number, just the class number is fine. You'll need to find 3 outside sources. We have a preference for journal articles when you are looking and using these sources. They are used to supplement the interview that you've completed, and you'll be addressing some specific questions and topics that we have included here on the presentation page. But you're going to supplement that with journal articles that either support or don't support what you found in your interview. You can go in either direction, or both directions for that matter. But we don't want you to use Wikipedia. We're not looking for you to look at blogs. We want sources. We'll allow you to use one .com source, so .edu, .gov, I'm trying to think of some other, .org. Those are sites that are generally more reputable in terms of the veracity of, or the trueness of the information that you're gathering. So preference is journal articles, but you can use .gov, .org sites, .edu sites if you find material or articles there that you would like to include in your paper. Make sure you cite anything that you reference, so that you paraphrase it and cite it. Try not to use direct quotes. Summarizing material is fine. But if you are going to do direct quotes, less than 5% of your paper should be quotes. It's helpful to use subheadings. Your paper is going to have an introduction, a body, a conclusion, and references. Those are the 4 parts to your paper. And then in your paper, there's a list of 8 things that you're going to do in your paper. And if you want to use subheadings to separate them out, that's fine. This really makes up the body of your paper. You can see them all listed here. I'm not going to read them for you, but you're going to use your interviews and your sources to answer these questions or to cover these topics in your paper. Your presentation is also going to be, to finish up on your paper, there's some very specific organizational structures. Again, I talked about an introduction, 1/2 to 1/2 a page. The body is going to be 3 to 4 pages, your conclusion 1/2 a page, and then you'll have pages of reference and a cover page. Now on the presentation, your presentation is going to be about 30 minutes. This is worth 30 points. I should have said this earlier, actually. Your paper is 50 points, but your presentation is worth 30 points, and you can do this as a PowerPoint slide, and with using either PowerPoint. PowerPoint has an adaptation where you can do video. You can also use video, video anywhere. You can use YouTube like I'm doing, although that's a little harder to do unless you're going to put your slides next to you. I mean, you can set it up so you can do it. I've seen people do it before. But you're going to present the information from your paper. It's going to, you want to do it in such a way that your classmates can view it, and it should be 10 minutes or less. And you should include no less than 10 slides, have a cover slide and a reference slide. You're going to post this to the discussion board, and then your classmates will be reviewing it. And one of the final project you will do is you will be reviewing other classmates' presentations. So put this together like you would a presentation for class. You're just going to video, use some sort of video application so that you can post it on the discussion board and your classmates can see it. I'll talk about the response posts for next week's class. So to wrap up, you have some assignments due on the 23rd of September. You're going to do the video participation quiz like you do every week, and you're going to discuss you're going to post your first discussion post on the 23rd, and then your paper is due on Saturday, September 23rd. So hopefully you've been working on it. And then on Tuesday, September 26th, you'll have 2 response posts, your chapter quiz, and then finally you're going to post your presentation, which is part 3 of your class project. I'll give you the same tip I gave you last week, which is to check your video software to make it work. And then groups will be announced on the Blackboard, on our Blackboard announcements site. So what Kiki and I will do is we will put you into small groups. You're not going to be viewing every one of your classmates' presentations. That would be way too many. But you're going to review a handful. We haven't sorted out the final number yet, but it'll probably be 4 to 5 presentations that you will review of your classmates, and then you will be responding to them for your very final project. Again, more about that next week. So that's it for week 6. Thanks all.